Yeah, it's interesting. I've been watching this and so some of the news feeds and that. Um, the question I have that comes up that I'm trying to answer is, had Montreal not had a stellar run at the end of the season last year, would this actually even be a conversation? I mean,
Maybe.
people, I mean, they had a great run. You get a team like that gets into the spotlight, then everything becomes like almost out of proportion, kind of, right? I mean, in this one specific example. So you get caught up in what Montreal did, and people think, well, it's all these little team members that put this whole thing together. So we want to go after whatever little crumb we can get.
Sebastian, let me pass the puck to you, my friend, because I know you always have peripheral vision. You look what's going on the side and everything, and everyone is celebrating the summer of Lou so far with the Islanders, who manages to sign everyone on team friendly deals. It's absolutely incredible what he's doing. Um, Everyone seems to be on Bergevin's case this summer, being like this is one of his worst off seasons ever, because we're potentially going to lose Kotkaniemi, because we let Daniel walk as an RFA, because we let Corey Perry leave, even though we got a million wingers in front of him, and only signing Matt Hoffman as a big player right along with. But at the same time, there was a little bit of criticism for David Savard, although a very good defenseman. He's not going to replace Shea Weber. I mean, my question to you is, is this criticism warranted? And is letting Kotkaniemi go kind of like the cherry on the sundae and being like, all right, you know what? Your 5-year plan of rebuilding this team has lasted 10 years. I think, is it time to say, you know what? His experiment has just failed at this point.
I mean, there are multiple ways of looking at it, right? Like, he is the GM that actually brought the Habs back to the Stanley Cup for the first time. But I do think that this offseason was an absolute tire fire. Like, I don't know if you can look at it in any other way. I don't think you can look at the current roster and think it's any stronger than the one that we had in the playoffs, and that was with Drouin on leave of absence and Thomas Tatar in the press box for potentially unwarranted reasons.
No, come on.
And
He had no business being in the playoffs. He's a season player. That's the end of that. I mean, come on.
I would disagree there. I like Tatar a lot, but the thing is,
No, but
if
I
you look
get it.
at the current roster compared to even like last regular season, like Cole Caulfield and Mike Hoffman are the two real additions, right?
Yeah.
You can't really look at David Savard as an addition when you consider the subtraction of Shea Weber. Um, and like the same goalie tandem is great, right? But like apart from that, on defense, it's the same thing. Hopefully, Romanov takes a step this season, but like it's just down the middle, right? Like it's so bad. Especially if
Which
you
is funny
KK.
because a year ago, not even a year ago, a few months
Oh, for
ago,
sure,
we were
it was the
so
bright
deep.
spot.
Yeah.
Like imagine going into the season with a center trio of Suzuki, Dano, and KK, right? Like we would be back on the sound like Cooper train, right? Because like it'd be great, right? It would be all amazing despite losing Shea Weber. And yeah, like I think the where Bergevin really fumbled the ball was in not getting Kotkaniemi signed earlier, right? Like
Yep.
when you tender an offer sheet to a team, you should expect retaliation at some point, especially when it's against someone like Tom Dundon, right? Like we heard 2 years ago that Carolina was going to do this, and now Bergevin spent 2 months in the offseason not doing anything but Kotkaniemi, right? Like apparently
Unless he was shopping
apparently
him.
apparently the, it's possible, but at the same time, apparently Kotkaniemi was getting offers in like the 2.5 million range, which for like 2 years, which is pretty much what he's worth. But at the same time, Montreal had the cap space to just give him 3.5. Is it really going to kill you to give him an extra million? I don't think so. And
No.
are you going to risk like losing him on an offer sheet? And like Bergevin really painted himself into a corner with the situation, and I think he really fumbled the ball there. I think if you pair that with this idiotic drafting of Logan Mailloux, I don't want to see him back after his contract expires.
Yeah,
And same can be said with Trevor Taymans. I
it's
want them both gone and just clean house in management and just start anew because so much of this fan base has been alienated since that playoff run that had everyone so excited. We just need a little fresh start here.
Yeah, the main issue is that on the ice we've been getting some good players. Behind the bench, we seem to finally have a good philosophy. It's upstairs. That's like that the problem is more than clear. And Josh, I'll send it to you in a second. I just want it needs to be said. I mean, okay, Bergevin's time I think is coming to a close. Trevor Timmins' head has been called upon for years now, and I'm sorry, but this situation also rests on the head of the Department of Player Personnel. I mean, of player development. Excuse me. Like your job is to develop players. It says so in the title. The job has just not been done because a guy like Kotkaniemi, if he's warranted to be drafted third overall, is because there's something special about him. Clearly, the scouts went up to him and be like, he's going to be that good. Well, you know what? Put him on a program that's going to put him that good. And if it means him spending extra time in Finland, if it means spending extra time in Laval, then so be it. But now what you're doing is that you're potentially wasting yet another draft pick, and everyone's going to be up in arms because they're going to say, oh, we could have had Brady Tkachuk and whatnot. Yeah, well, we don't know that. Okay. Like that's the draft is always a crapshoot, but it's such a delicate situation at the same time because it's so easy to play armchair GM because we don't know all the situation that goes on backstage, so to speak. But Josh, I mean, you have a comment in general about the RFA situation, and it is kind of confusing from the outside looking in a certain way. But you want to give your opinion on this as well. Go ahead.
So yeah, I'll talk about RFAs real quick. They're the worst ways to get a player. Not because of petty revenge like Tom Dundon's doing to Montreal right now. It's just that you have, by definition, have to hugely overpay a player more than you would, say, in a UFA or in a trade. Because if you don't overpay the guy, like they're just going to take it back, like Sebastian Aho. You have to give a guy 2 to 3 times what he's worth, like Kotkaniemi, to get anything out of it. And that's why no one's been signed to an RFA since like 2007 and Dustin Penner. It's just a terrible idea. But with Montreal's system right now has just been full of terrible ideas, and they get by on the good ones, but it seems like they're starting to catch up with them. With the player development, one I always think back on is Victor Mete, and I can't remember what year exactly he was, but he was a 100th overall draft pick, I believe. And then right out of training camp, he makes the team and plays next to Shea Weber, and that seemed a little suspect. And I think from the outside, I wasn't hugely following everything like I am now at that point. But to me, it seemed like it was a team trying to drum up some excitement for a team that hadn't had a lot of excitement lately in the terms of success, in terms of huge draft picks and prospects. And we see it a lot where they just mismanage people, putting Victor Mete on the first pairing, putting Alex Galchenyuk in the center, putting Drouin in the center. And you just see these things where it's like, why on earth would you do that? Mostly just to say, oh, we didn't waste our draft pick on another winger when we need centers. We got a center here, and then it doesn't work, and then we traded a good defenseman for a center, and it didn't work.
Notice how we also skipped the option of Jonathan Drouin playing center, by the way. Even though it's been reported that he's like, yeah, I'll play center. Yeah, sure, yeah. I'll also play center, but you don't see me volunteering. As if, right?
Yeah, if they want me to play on Montreal,
so
I'll do
everyone.
it.
It would be awful. But you know what? I mean, despite all this negative talk, we still think we can have a potentially good year. Rocco said so at the beginning of our show that we might, we still got a chance to have a nice run nonetheless. But again, like I said in our intro, This whole conversation might be a moot point once it's posted. Maybe by the time you're listening to the show, something else has happened. Maybe we made a trade. Maybe we matched. Maybe he parted. We don't know. That's the beauty of hockey. But here's that infamous horn, which signifies the end of our show. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week. On behalf of myself, Scott Cowan, Sebastian Hyde, Joshua Rosa, and Maria Buabdo, we thank each and every one of you for listening to our show. Our warmest thanks to Rocco Rosa for donating his time to us to talk about old-time hockey. Thank you again, sir. Shout out to our friend Sam Mendelson, who we knew despite his extremely busy schedule, he still takes the time to listen to us every week. Sam will return at some point, so don't worry, folks. He's still very much a part of this amazing crew. Also, thank you to, of course, Chanel Marie for providing the voiceover work, and, of course, to Shane Ivers for the music, courtesy of silvermansound.com. If you haven't done so already, make sure you visit us over at podpage.com/puckandroll, where you will find all of our social media links as well as access to all of your favorite episodes. Once more, thank you very much to all of our listeners, and make sure to tune in next week for another episode of Puck and Roll.